2020 was a bleak year, to say the least, and part of me feels wrong going back and looking at this year and trying to find it in a positive light, but realistically, you need to find the good and the bad, and there was a lot of bad, but this video's about the good. 2020 was, at least for Odd Hour, pretty good. I met a lot of people, I broke 500 followers on Twitch, 100 subs on YouTube. Things went well in the creative aspect, and as for gaming, it wasn't the best, but I had a good time. There were some games that came out that I really enjoyed. So, in the spirit of putting the year behind us, let's take the good from the bad and, look forward. This is my first time doing a list like this, so, I don't really have like a rule. I usually go freeform when I do stuff like this, but the games that I'm listing are in order for a reason, and they will be presented and explained in that order. Yeah. I'm going to start off with honorable mentions. Actually, I'm going to list the games that didn't make this list but were considered. And those games, just really quick: Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, Ninjala, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon DX, and, God, there was one more. Hold on. Oh God, what was it? Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal. Yeah, those games almost made it, but didn't. Yeah. Alright, let's get started. Let's start with number 10. This game kind of came out of nowhere for me. I heard that it was coming out, I pre-ordered it, and then it dropped. This is probably the first game I got, or the last game I got, technically, before lockdown started and quarantine really took effect. Well, let me be clear about something. This game isn't well, it's not good. I enjoyed it a ton because One Punch Man is my favorite anime. Like, it's just really good. So, a fighting game based around it seemed like such a good idea. But realistically, the more I played the game, the more I realized that, hey, I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. The fighting is really basic and shallow in a sense. And to get to the actual, like, fighting with character, like, the whole thing is a story mode, right? You make your OC. And you run through the story of the game, basically. That's the entire game, is you running through the story of the show. And that's not inherently a bad thing, but, getting to the actual fight where you can fight with the characters from the show, I have to Google it every time I play the game. That's never a good thing. On top of that, I don't know, the fighting is shallow. It's not, like, the best fighting game ever. It doesn't need to be either. This one was for me. I enjoyed this one. No one plays this game anymore. I've streamed it 3 times. The first time was the most I ever got, like the most viewers I ever got in a single stream organically. The second time, nobody came. And the third time, somehow even less people came. I like this game a lot. I know a lot of people who like this game. That's not true. I know a few people who like this game and they all know me. But regardless, this game was one of the most fun games I played this year. And it deserves a spot on this list, even if it's the last spot on this list. Next up, number 9. Among Us was not my most played game this year. It wasn't my favorite game this year either. I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, but the issue I ran into was I just kept playing it with the same people and it got stale for me. So I stepped away from it for a while. That doesn't mean it's not good. That doesn't mean it wasn't, like, kind of defining of this year, if we're being completely honest. This game got huge, and it deserved to. It didn't come out last year, but that's when it rose to prominence. And of course I became the imposter. My issues with Among Us stem solely from the fact that I didn't play it with that many people. I streamed it once. I should have streamed it more and, had more people into it. That way I would have had more fun with it. But, that's my fault, right? And playing online is just an easy way to get called a slur. And I don't really feel like getting called a slur all the time. So, playing with friends was just a safer option. Onward to number 8. Black Ops Cold War was exactly what I wanted, honestly. It's not the most fine-tuned Call of Duty. That belongs to Modern Warfare that came out in 2019. But this, a direct sequel to my favorite Call of Duty of all time, to Black Ops 1, was wonderful. Truly, honestly wonderful. Am I the best at Call of Duty? No. Do I need to be the best at Call of Duty? Absolutely not. I'm just having fun. And look at me, I'm running around with a MAC-10, spraying, I'm not even aiming down sights. Like, I do bad for most of the game, and then by the end I go positive. Like, here, I'll show you. Here's me at my lowest. -7, right? Disgusting, abysmal, gross, who wants this person on their team? But then at the end, you're like, oh, wow, this dude went +2 after going -7. Damn, look at all that damage. Whoa. Truly, honestly, I don't know what it is about Call of Duty that keeps bringing me back to it, but I love it. Honestly, I'm talking about the multiplayer, right? Zombies is my jam. Zombies is what makes Black Ops 1 my favorite Call of Duty, on top of the phenomenal multiplayer. Black Ops 1 is just, it's a perfect Call of Duty. But this is a close sequel. My only problem is that for some reason, whenever there's a new Black Ops game, really ever since like Black Ops, maybe 2, maybe 3, it has nothing to do with the gun you choose. It has nothing to do with, like, you know, what you attach to it, you know, explosives and all that stuff. Everything has to do with rate of fire. It's strictly the bullets that you put into a player that dictates a kill. Whereas before you could pick whatever gun you want, it's pretty lenient. No, now it's just rate of fire. That's what makes a gun good, and that's kind of disappointing. Being forced to pick a gun is never a good thing, but you know, it's Call of Duty. There's always something wrong, except for Black Ops 1. That's the best one, so you understand. NumberSeven. The Origami King isn't at all what I expected. I genuinely believe they were going to go back to Paper Mario 64 and Paper Mario Thousand Year Door style of Paper Mario game. But honestly, they didn't, and I was still pretty happy with it. I enjoyed this game a lot. I'm a variety streamer, for those of you that come to the Twitch channel. I try to play something different every day. But when Origami King came out, I played it for 9 days in a row. I just didn't want to not play it on stream, and I didn't want to play anything else. It was good. I mean, the writing was good, the gameplay was pretty solid. You know, there isn't like a progression system or anything like that, but still, honestly, it didn't need one. I enjoyed this game, and I don't know. I feel like it deserves a lot more credit. It's at the very least a step in the right direction. There are elements similar to Paper Mario 64 and Thousand Year Door, and if you're more interested in hearing about this game, I reviewed it with my boy Spencer over on the podcast. It's also a channel. It's also a video on the channel if you want to go check it out. Odd Hours Raving Reviews. You should go give it a listen, you know. Shameless promotion. NumberSix.
Crash! Crash! Crash!
Crash Bandicoot 4 was a pretty good game, honestly. It scratched that itch that Crash Bandicoot and platforming games leave. And, you know, I'm a huge fan of platforming games. It was really nice to play this game. I did not expect this game. I don't think anybody expected this game to actually come out. Who would have guessed after all these years Crash Bandicoot 4, right? Not like another Crash Bandicoot game or anything like that. We just skipped everything between 3 and now. And we're just going with 4. It's about time. Directly after the story, really fun. Like, the characters are lively. Like, this is a well-built game. And what it means for the future of platforming games is that, you know, there's a market for it. I haven't looked at any of the metrics of what Crash Bandicoot 4, like how many it sold, how many people, whatever. But I know that just it existing is a good thing and a step in the right direction for platforming games. We still need Banjo-3, we still need some semblance of, you know, we're in the middle of a platforming revival. And that's phenomenal. This game existing is a testament to that. NumberFive? NumberFive?
Yes.
NumberFive. Super Mario Bros. 35 was ridiculously fun. It kind of came out of nowhere, but it's such a good idea. It's never been done before. It takes an old game and adds a modern element before, and that's something we've never seen. This new idea of taking an old game and adding some kind of twist to it is honestly really fun. And as someone who's played this game my entire life, I'm I'm pretty damn good at it too. It sucks that this game is going to disappear March 31st, but my theory is that Nintendo is going to either make it a full release or a paid release. Like, you're going to have to pay money to own it, which is, honestly, it's fine. I'd pay money for this game. Number 4. Animal Crossing came out at the perfect time. I mean, like, literally, as this whole pandemic started, Animal Crossing dropped. And for God's sakes, Animal Crossing is responsible for that whole Switch drought in, like, April and May. Don't forget, there was a point where you couldn't buy a Switch if you wanted to. Everybody and their mother and their father was trying to get their hands on a Switch just to play this game. And, well deserved, this game is phenomenal. Mind you, I don't think this is the best Animal Crossing game. Personally, I think City Folk was Animal Crossing at its peak. But that doesn't make this game any worse or better. It's just a good game. It was easily one of the best games that came out last year. And, you know, I'm kind of sad that it dropped off in popularity. Even for myself, right? It got to a point where I didn't really want to get on every day. It just felt like a chore. Where in the beginning, it was just something I wanted to do. But that's just the Animal Crossing life cycle. There's going to be... Animal Crossing comes in these bursts. Like, Animal Crossing comes out in bursts. You're just like, I want to play Animal Crossing. Now I remember why I'm playing this. I'm gonna play it again tomorrow. And then you do, and you're like, now I remember why I stopped playing. And then you stop. It's a game that comes out, and you visit it every once in a while. And there's nothing wrong with that. Number 3. I think Fall Guys might have been the game I played the most this past year, and I still play it. I love Fall Guys. I'm kind of upset that it fell off in popularity once Among Us came out, but honestly, it's like still big, and you should be playing it because it's really fun. Every season they add new maps, they add new finale games, they keep things fresh with the costumes, all these crossovers. I mean, for God's sakes, look at me. I'm the Doomslayer, jumping over these cute little obstacles. You can't do much better than that. The reason it isn't higher on this list is because of a few small gripes I have with it. There's no stat screen. I can't see how many times I've won, and the crown tracker is mixed up with crowns you win as rewards instead of actually winning, the Royale. And, hitboxes are a little wonky. Your Fall Guy will trip and never get up sometimes. There's just tiny issues with this game that could very easily be fixed, in my opinion. But, I mean, other than that, this is one of the most fun games I've ever played, let alone last year, just, period. Number 2. It might seem a little weird seeing a game made up of 3 older games on this list, but honestly, this was one of my favorite releases this past year. I couldn't not talk about it, and it needed to be high on this list. There's 3 games that I absolutely adore, and of the 3, the one that I didn't like the most is the one that I enjoyed the most. It's kind of weird. I made a review, / discussion video on this game, so you should 100% go check it out, but basically, I think this game is phenomenal. Similar to Crash 4, what this game means is much larger than the game itself, and the game itself is fine, right? These 3 classic games at this point, all with kind of up-res graphics and an easy-to-navigate menu with all the soundtracks and stuff like that. It's a good idea, and it works really well. The only really bad thing about this is that it's going to stop being available on March 31st, but personally, I think that's because they're going to add a virtual console to Switch. We'll see what happens, but go check out that video where I talk about this game way more in length. And finally, that brings us to number 1. A lot of people are probably going to disagree with me about this, but honestly, this is the best game I played in 2020. I mean, yeah, it wasn't long, right? I spent $50 on the PS5 version, and it was only half the length of the first game, but look at this game, honestly, it's beautiful. It's more of Spider-Man, Marvel's Spider-Man, which is phenomenal. They did a very good job. They took a new character, and they made it really good. Miles stands out on their own, as their own character, while learning from Peter and all this stuff. This game was wonderfully written, wonderfully executed. There was just so much good about this game. It had to be the best on this list. You saw that I 100% of this game, right? It was just so good. Too good not to 100%. And especially because, you know, it was a little expensive, if we're being completely honest. I figured I might as well get my entire money's worth, right? I enjoyed this game a lot, and I can't wait to play it again for New Game Plus. This game dropping as a pre-sequel to Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is really good. We get to catch up with the characters, we get to see that Miles can stand on his own as Spider-Man. Like, he's not just Spider-Man Jr., he's actually Spider-Man now. And that's awesome. Miles 100% deserves it. This game really did a good job of telling Miles' story. Like, I can't speak highly enough about this game, and it just makes me more excited for whenever the sequel comes. I don't even think they talked about that. In that spirit of looking toward the future and what 2021 has to offer us, I'm going to talk about the game I am most looking forward to this year. I mean, at least the ones that confirmed so far. For me, that's the God of War sequel, God of War Ragnarok. I am so excited for that game to come out. That's all I have to say about it.